Welcome back. In this video, I'll demonstrate how to rotate the camera using just a few lines of code. We'll also be creating a script to zoom the camera in and out. The first thing we want to do is make sure our Y rotation is set to 45. Now let's open up our game core script and create a new variable called angle of type float. Then in our start function, we'll say angle equals 45. Here in our update function, we'll check to see if the second mouse button has been pressed. We can do that by using the get mouse button down method. And now we'll increase our angle variable by 90 degrees. Below this is where we'll rotate the camera by updating its Euler angle property. And we'll use the mathf lerp angle function to set that. And we'll supply the holder's angle, the angle variable, and the speed. You can increase or decrease this variable if you want it to rotate faster or slower. Make sure there's no errors. Hit play. So now when I right click, the camera angle smoothly rotates 90 degrees. And if we want to change the rotation's direction, we can just use subtraction instead of addition. So this next part is going to be a little more interesting. We're going to set up a zoom script for the camera, but it's going to be for a specific purpose. Let's say if you have an exploration game where you're trying to find something and you find that item, then you want the camera to zoom in on that item or zoom out. That's what we're going to be doing. To start, I'm going to be creating a new sphere. I'm just going to call it object. Right here under the object name where it says tag, I'm going to select add tag. I'm going to call it object and make sure that's selected on the object. Now let's go back to our game core script, and within our update function we'll be using the find game objects with tag method to look through the scene for that type of game object. Then we use a for loop to check its distance, and based on its distance we can tell the camera to zoom in or zoom out. So within our update function I'm going to create a new variable. I'm going to call it object array. We're going to set this by using the find game objects with tag method. And since we called that tag object, that's what we supply there. And now this should contain a list of game objects which match that tag. And then we can loop through that array. We'll create a new variable to get the distance between the object and the player using vector3.distance and supplying the player position and the object position. If the object distance is less than or equal to 20 units, for now we're just going to print a message to the console and say near object. Save that. Go back to Unity, hit play, and now you'll notice we have a message saying near object, and as we move away it stops. Cool, so now we can tell whether or not we're near an object. How do we control the zoom? Well, we're going to create a new script for that. Call it zoom. We're going to declare several variables. And one for the camera. Within the start function we need to initialize those variables. Starting with the camera, we use get component camera. Set the zoom amount variable to the current orthographic size, then whatever you want the minimum and maximum zoom values to be. Since we're setting these here, and I don't want them to be set in the inspector or within the editor of Unity, we're going to use the @hide in inspector statement. Make sure we set our speed as well. And within the update function we just need one line of code to set the camera zoom using the math lerp method. We supply the current orthographic size value, the zoom amount, and the speed. Save that, go back to Unity, make sure our zoom script is attached to the camera. So back in our game core script, instead of just printing this message, we're going to create a reference to our new zoom script. We use the getComponent method to grab a reference to that script. So here where we're just saying print near object, we're going to add a variable and call it is near object of type boolean equals false. And now we'll say is near object equals true. Then right outside of our for loop, we're going to add if is nearby object. Then we'll update the zoom script's zoom amount variable to the zoom minimum variable, else set it to the max amount. So we've searched for the objects in the scene with the object tag, stick them into an array, then we loop through that array comparing the distance of each object, and if one of them is less than 20 units, we set the is nearby object variable to true. If it's true, we zoom in, otherwise we zoom out. Save that, go back to Unity. Let's duplicate a few of these objects. Move them around a little bit. Hit play. And now when we go near an object, it zooms in, and we leave, it zooms out. And it'll do that for each object that has the matching tag. So that's it for this video. In the next video I talk about the publish settings. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching.